Hey guys, this is Lori with LM's Crafty Creations, and I'm here to share a tutorial for you. This is my Authentique Beloved January Craftology box tutorial for countrycraftcreations.com. And here's the book. It's not completely finished yet, but I'll show you. It's 5 by 7. And here's the inside. It has these corner pockets here, and then kind of like a gatefold style feature. There's a flip here, and then the pages flip this way, and then they also flip up this way. And then these are acetate pockets. So it flips, and you have two corner pages featured here. And then there is, I haven't finished this obviously, but there is a waterfall feature here on this side. And then on the back, there is a side pocket. So that's what we'll be making. I wanted to go ahead and get the tutorial done for you guys before I completely finish the album. So let's see. Let's start with the pages. So let me get myself together here a minute and figure out what I've done. I went ahead and did this on craft cardstock because I already had the white one done, and I don't generally, do white albums as a rule. I like doing mostly black or craft albums. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one in a craft color, hopefully so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So for the base pages, what you're going to do is you're going to cut 3 pieces, because you're going to have 3 pages in this album, at 7 1/4 by 10 inches. You're going to score on the 10-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 5 1/4, and then you're going to score on the 7 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. So the way we're going to make these pages, I'm going to make them all together with you on camera since they're a little different, is, let me remember what I did here. Okay, so here is the first score line. I'm just going to go ahead and fold some kind of direction on it and burnish. Now I want it to go, I actually want them to go the opposite direction, so my apologies. So you're going to fold this piece that doesn't have the 1/2 inch score line, if you can even see it, to the left. Okay? That's how this is going to work. So what I'm going to do here is I don't need this 1/2 inch piece on this flap, so I'm going to cut it off. So I'm just going to cut at an angle up to the score line here. And I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to cut this whole piece off. I can barely see my score line myself, so I know y'all can't see it. So much for using craft colored paper, right? So now I'm going to miter on my score line over here, and I'm going to fold this up this way. The reason why I'm doing it this way is because I want top pockets. Okay? That's the goal here. And then you're going to fold it over, and I'm only going to put glue right here. Okay, so see what I've done here? So this is why I wanted to do all 3 of them on camera, because they are a bit confusing. So here's your 1/2 inch score line, and here's your 5 1/4 inch score line. So, and then here we scored on the 7 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. So I cut right here at an angle and cut the rest of that 1/2 inch part off, and then I fold it up, and this is going to make a pocket. But I'm only going to put glue right here, because see, this is going to be my binding side that's actually going to go onto the page. So I'm hoping that makes sense. So let me take my glue, I'm going to go ahead and just squiggle it here and close this up. And maybe y'all can get a better idea of what I'm trying to say from my confusing directions. So here we go. And that's just going to close that right up. So I don't have anything in them yet, but like I said, I just wanted top loading pockets, you know, instead of the side. Usually I have pockets on the side. I wanted to do something a little different. And I did this hinge right here so that your tape can go here and on this side, and you still have this for your pocket. Otherwise, if you went straight onto here with your tape, you would lose some of your pocket because the adhesive would be there. So I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me. So there's the first one. Let's do another one together. Okay, so here's another one. I've scored 1/2 inch here at 5 1/4 inch here on the 10-inch side, and then 1/2 inch on the 7 1/4 inch side. So I'm going to miter my corner here on that side, and then I'm going to cut. This would be a little easier probably if I show you my pencil. I'm going to cut this area off, and easier for me to see when I cut. So see that? There we go. I'm going to cut here and all the way across. Right up to the score line, and then on this side I'm going to go right on the score line. Okay. So, and you could fold it actually the other way, it doesn't matter. Whichever way. So this is the dented side, and you usually fold into the bumpy side, so I'll just go ahead and do that because it really doesn't matter. Okay. Right? Sure. Here we go. It will matter when we start adding things to these pages, but it doesn't matter just yet. So now I'm going to add my glue. Go ahead and bring it down. I'll let that dry. And there's my finding pocket. Okay, one more to make. I have a little glue here, and if you have, see this little bitty overhang I have over here? I'm just going to trim that off. That's where I cut that score line, and apparently I just didn't get it very even. One more. Okay, again, here's our 1/2 inch, 5 1/4 inch, and then 1/2 inch on the 7 1/4 inch side. I'm going to miter this over here, and then again I'm going to show you with my pencil. I'm going to cut at a diagonal here and then all the way across the score line, and I'm going to remove that section. Okay, clear as mud, right guys? Hopefully I can get it more even this time. So, and like I said, it doesn't matter which way you fold it, up or down, you know, which side. We'll figure all that out when we start adding flips and flaps and all that good stuff that we like to add. Okay, again, gonna put glue here. Just gonna close it up. So this way I have a top loading pocket. Make sure I don't have any overhang on the back here. Looks like I did a much better job on this one, but I'm just going to give it a little trim. Okay, now there's our base pages. So now we're going to do the flaps, I think. So this is also a little confusing. So we're also going to have to remove a section of this hinge as well. So what you want is 2 of these, and they measure 9.5 by 7.25. You're going to score on the 7.25 inch side at 1/2 inch, and on the 9.5 inch side at 4 3/4. So it's 9.5 by 7.25, and then score on the 9.5 inch side at 4 3/4, and on the 7.25 inch side at 1/2 inch. I'm going to make sure I said that right. So again, we're going to remove a section of this, and it's this one right here. So we're going to cut a diagonal here and all the way across here. See this? That's what we're going to cut off here. So here is my 4 3/4 inch right here. I'm just going to cut that at a diagonal. And then cut this off. And once again, try to get it straight, which I'm not very good at, obviously. So this is going to close this way, and then this flap is going to attach to our book. And my score line's not evening up, so I'm just going to fix that real quick. I want it to be even. There we go. Okay, so we can go ahead and attach this. This one is actually, we're going to put glue on this side of the flap, and it's going to go right here on the base page. So see? So then once it's attached, it's going to flip open this way, close, and then flip up. Okay? So let's put glue right here and stick it right inside on the base page. And secure it down. Okay? So it flips open, and then it flips up. Okay, we're going to do another one that's just like that. We're just going to attach it to the base page a little differently. So here's what we're removing right here. Same thing as before. I'm going to turn it this way so I can cut it. Cut here, and then cut across. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fold this way, fold this way, and now, see, this one already has one attached. That's the first page, or actually the second page. Take another base page. So here's your opening here. Flip it over. Your opening should be on the right hand side. And then you're going to attach your base page to this side. Again, glue on the inside of the flap, and then just tuck it in right on the inside. And attach. that it's even. Okay, so now this one again is going to flip this way and then up. Okay, there we go. Alright guys, I'm going to have to pause you for just a second. I'll be right back. Okay guys, now we're going to do the flaps on the page that doesn't have any. So you should have two flaps that have the flip out and flip up, and they should be on opposite sides. So you have your binding pocket here somewhere, maybe, yeah, there, and then this one flips out, out and up, and then the other one has the binding pocket on the right hand side, and it flips out and up. Okay, now set those aside and let's get our other base page. Now this is the binding pocket here, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut two pieces at, let me just measure, at 4 3/4 by 4 1/2. You're going to score on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to need two pieces at, let's see, 2 7/8 by 6 3/4, and you're going to score on the 2 7/8 side at 1/2 inch. So first, let's go ahead and put our gatefold style pieces on. So I already have my score line here, so I'm going to fold on it and burnish. And I'm going to miter these corners here. And same on this one. And then I'm going to put my glue I'm actually going to put my glue on this side. Okay, on the outside. And I'm going to stick the flap right at the edge on top of the base page. So your binding edge is on the left, and here is your first flap, which that means I didn't really need to miter my corners, but it really doesn't matter. I forgot, I thought I was going to stick them in the pockets, but this has top loading pockets, so we're going to do it a little differently. It's been about a week since I created the original album, so I usually need to put these together and then do the tutorial pretty quickly because then I forget. Isn't that terrible? Okay, one on each side of the base page. So it gives us our nice gatefold. Don't add too much glue like I do. I tend to go crazy with the glue. So now we have our gatefold style pages. Then we're going to attach the two flip up at the top and at the bottom. So take your smaller pieces and we're just going to put glue again right here, and we're going to put this in the center, whoops, at the bottom. I'm going to do the bottom one first and just try to get it as centered as you can. It won't make a huge difference if it's not completely perfect. Sorry, my shirt's getting in the camera. And then let's do the one on top. I'm going to kind of flip my page here because it's easier for me to see. There we go. And this one's going to flip up. So it should look like this. Make sure it gets glued down really well. So these close this way, and this closes that way, and you'll have, looks like I need to score that a little bit better. Make sure that my folds are even. There we go. And then you'll have seam binding that comes around and ties this closed. Or you could use magnets if you wanted to, whatever your preference is. So now we're going to take this page and flip it over. And on the back of this page, all we have is a simple flap. And you're going to cut this to 6 3/4 by 4 1/4. Score on the 6 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And this time I think we can add the glue right here, and I'm going to put that underneath there. So let me show you what I got going on here. Put the glue on the inside of the flap, and then just tuck it in. It's going to go right there in the center of this page. See? So tuck it in at the top of the page. So when you open it up, you don't see the flap here. It's tucked in here. Okay, so this page is done. So now grab, let's see, what's next? We need to do our little acetate pockets. Let's do those next. So set this page aside, and let's grab the base page that has the flip out here with the binding edge on the left hand side. So let's see, the one that has the flip out on the front. So one of them has it on the front, and one of them has it on the back with the binding on the left. Correct? Correct. Okay. So I've already put one of these together. Let's see. Figure out what all I need here to show you this. So you have this flap that comes out this way, right? It shuts, and then this flips up, and this is where that acetate pocket is going to fit. So I'm going to set that page aside, and this is what our pocket's going to look like. You're going to want to cut it at 5 3/4 by 4 3/4. Score it on the 5 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then score it on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then you can go ahead and miter your corners, and I'm going to show you. I did also cut my acetate. Now I have decorative acetate. You can have just the clear transparency film will work just as well. And I've cut my acetate to 4 by 4 1/2, and you're going to need 2 of these. And so you're going to need 2 of these pockets as well. Okay? So let me show you how I cut mine out. What I did, where's my little mat? Is I flipped it over to the bumpy side, where the score line's on the bumpy side. Okay, so at the top of the pocket where there's no score line, right, that's where you put your items in, you're going to measure over. Let me cap my glue before it dries out, so I'm notorious for that. You're going to take your ruler here, and you're going to measure from the top 1/2 inch down and draw a line. So here's my ruler, 1/2 inch. There's my line. Okay. Now on these other sides, they already have score lines and hinges, so we're going to measure 1 inch over on those. So let's see, here's 1 inch. and I'm going to measure an inch and draw a line. So that still gives me a 1/2 inch border around it because I'm accounting for the 1/2 inch of the hinge. Okay? Hope that makes sense. And you're just going to do that on the remaining 3 sides. Very, very easy. And then, so this is what I have here. I've got a 1/2 inch all the way around after I fold and burnish on my score lines. So let me show you what I got going on. So here's my score lines, and there's a 1/2 inch box all the way around. So now I'm just going to take my little X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut and trim out that middle square here, and that's where I'm going to put my acetate. Okay? So you can use a ruler here if you like. I already drew the lines, which I actually can't see. There's some kind of glare going on today in the room. And I'm going to just freehand it. I apologize if my head gets in the frame. And do y'all have these little We Are Memory Keepers mats? I use this thing all the time because, as you can tell on my table, I used to just do it on the table before because this is not a super expensive table. It's just a craft table, like a card table. But I love this mat because if I do it just on the table, it doesn't always go through on the first pass, but on the mat it does. Okay, so I'm just cutting out my square. And there we go. That's it. It's as simple as that. And I don't need this. And so what I've already done here is this is kind of directional. The dots are dull on one side and shiny on one. So I put my tape all around the inside, and I used 1/8 of an inch tape, which, there it is, it's hiding. So then I'm going to put 1/8 of an inch tape all the way around here as well. Now, you could probably use 1/4 inch tape if you wanted to, and it would be fine. I do recommend score tape for this because I don't know how well. I mean, probably the art glitter glue would work fine. It would just be messy. And you know, sometimes once you get glitter, I mean, not glitter, glue on acetate, it smudges it and it's hard to get it off. So I'm just going to burnish that. Then I'm going to take off my tape here, and I'm going to apply my little acetate sheet. Whoops. Okay. So all I do is you try to be really careful and line it up as best you can, making sure not to go over any of the score lines, and just stick it down. And then burnish. So there you have it. There's your acetate pocket. Isn't it cute? Especially with that little design on there. I love that. So, whoops, my trash can's farther away than I anticipated it being. Okay, so take that base page, where the flip that we did is on the front, and flip this piece up, and we're going to attach this pocket right here at the bottom. And that is cute. Okay, so now I already have my other acetate pocket done. So I'm going to take my other base page that has my opening here. So that means that the flip is on the back of the page. I'm going to flip it up, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that here as well. And get both of these done at one time. Then we'll move on to the corner pockets. And glue is seeping out just a bit because, like I said, I tend to go glue crazy. Okay, now flip both of these over. So here's our acetate pockets. Flip these over to the other side. So you should have your binding edge on this side and then your binding edge on this side. Okay, this is going to be the centerfold of your album, and we're going to have the corner pockets here. So what I want you to do, I wonder if these, I think I cut this the same size as that. Yeah, okay. So you're going to want to cut two of these. These measure 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and you're going to score 1/2 inch on all four sides. To make your corner pocket, you're going to take your trimmer and you're going to stick it in here diagonally, just like so. And I'm lining it up with the guides here on my trimmer. And I'm going to cut right down the middle diagonally, okay? And it's going to give me two pieces. So I'm going to miter the corner on the side, and then you fold it on the score lines and burnish. And you're going to cut where you have this extra, you see it overhang there. Just cut that right off. And that'll give you your corner pocket. So there's one. And here's the other one. So they go like this. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my glue and stick them down. Now we're going to do the other side. Exact same way. And stick it down. Okay, now our corner pockets are done. Let me grab my trash can. Sorry, guys. I hate to have trash sitting around on my work surface. Okay, so now these are done. They go in the book like that, and then the first page is done. The first page is the gatefold style, and so there's, yep, all 3 pages done. Just wanted to make sure. So the rest, let's see, the items I have here, let's go ahead and do the binding. So what I've cut here, it measures 7 inches by 6 3/4 for the binding. I've scored starting at the 1.5 inch mark like I always do, and I scored every 1/2 inch until you get to 5.5, and that's where I stop. So start your first score mark at 1.5 and score every 1/2 inch until you get to 5.5, and that's your last score mark, okay? So flip it over, and I've already run my 3/8 of an inch tape on my hinges. And which side am I going to? I'm going to start on this side. So first thing I'm going to do, just like I always do, there's a 1/2 inch space here and a 1/2 inch space here, and I'm going to fold on this mark right here, okay? And I'm going to burnish. Then I'm going to remove my tape, and I'm going to stick that down, and that will make our first hinge. Then I'm going to take this piece and fold it back this way and burnish. Okay. Now next, again, I'm going to score on the line where the tape and the other score line is. Okay. Remove my tape. Ouch! Jeez, almost cut myself. And stick it down and burnish. Make sure you're burnishing really well to get that tape to stick. Then you're going to take this flap, fold it back or forwards or whatever you want to say, and burnish again. Now my last hinge, I'm going to fold right there between the tape and then this 1/2 inch space and burnish. Pull it back, remove your tape, stick it down, and burnish it again. Okay, and then again I'm going to fold it this way, and I'm going to burnish. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to fold each of my hinges in the other direction and burnish. Okay, and then I'm going to add, what do I want to add? I think I might have used 3/8 of an inch score tape before, but I'm just going to use 1/4 inch this time. So I'm going to add the score tape to the edge of my hinges on both sides. So I will tell you, since this one has the little trickier top-loading pockets and the way that the pages are built, I'm only going to take the score tape off of one side of the hinge at a time in order to attach them. So I just wanted to let you know that in case if you don't watch that part of the video, make sure it's easier if you take the score tape off of one side of the hinge and stick it down and then take it off the other side, since we have that funky like pocket. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. One second. Got a little choked up there. I'm to take a drink of my tea. Okay, now I'm just going to burnish. And I'm going to miter the hinges here. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply tape to the back of this so that's done and it's ready when we want to use it. So where's my little tape cutter thingy? You want to make sure you put tape along the entire back of your hinges. If there's anywhere that you use score tape, do it on your hinges. Okay? Your books will stay together for a long time. And you need to burnish it. I think I've mentioned it once before in one of my other videos that I learned the hard way by not fully... I've always fully covered my hinges in tape, but I didn't always know the importance of burnishing. I've got a funky little thing going on here, so I'm just going to add some random pieces. And well, that didn't turn out great, did it? Make sure you burnish. Okay, now that we've got this part out of the way, let's set that to the side. Sorry, my little microphone's getting messed up today. Let's go ahead and do the album cover, since we're kind of at that point now. Let me close this up. For the album cover, let's see. I didn't cut the paper yet for this, so I think I'm going to cut it at 9. Let's take it 8.5, two 8.5 by 11 sheets. It's not going to give me very much on that side. Maybe I should do it like that. That be enough? Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm going to join two 8.5 by 11 sheets together on the long side using my 1/4 inch tape. And actually, I can cut these down to 8.5 by 9, which I think I will do now. 9. Just put that aside. Whoops, almost cut it wrong. And I'm just going to go ahead and join these together. Trying to get them straight. Okay, here we go. It's like I hold my breath when I'm trying to do that, right? Now I'm going to draw. I think I'm just going to do an inch line on the left-hand side of this, and then all along the bottom, because I don't want a ton of overhang that I have to put tape on for no reason. Okay, perfect. So now for your chipboard pieces, I want you to cut 2 pieces. These are 5 by 7. Just want to measure and make sure. Yes. And then your spine is going to be 7 by 1 3/4. Okay. So I'm going to take this piece, and I've already added my tape and burnished it on and all that good stuff. Sorry, it takes a long time, and I'm out of the score tape sheets. I need to order some more because it just takes forever on the videos to take all this darn tape off. Okay, so I'm going to line it up right here on the edge where I drew my lines, so everything's nice and even. And stick it down. And I'm going to get rid of all this because can't find what I'm looking for. Just going to kind of burnish this down. I'm going to put my 1/4 inch score tape in the middle, like I always do. And burnish. Then I'm going to put down my spine. Whoops. Throwing things around today. Nice and even. Another 1/4 inch piece. And this is just to give me that spacing that I need. Some people put, you know, a couple layers of chipboard up here and then put their pages, but that's just, I don't know, seems like a pain to me. So I do it this way. And I like the 1/4 inch. You know, 2 pieces of chipboard stuck together for me is not going to do it. Give me the amount of spacing that I like. A little tape overhang here. And you actually probably could use your art glitter glue to glue these down. I'm stuck in a rut and I'm used to using score tape. So burnish these. Looks like I got that a little bit crooked at the top, so, you know. going to go ahead and take these off. And I'm going to cut off some of this side. I don't need all that much there. Just going to do my 1 inch again. Get rid of that. And now I'm going to add my tape. Sorry, I was looking, put my fold at a kind of a weird place. I don't like that, but you know, it's too late, so I'm going to put this on the chipboard first. And then I'm going to put a 1/2 inch piece down here at the bottom. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to do that all the way around. One more. Oops. Okay. I always hate doing that on camera because it's like the Jeopardy songs in my head. People are waiting on you to finish. I'm going to burnish. Whoops. Okay. Now I'm going to miter my corners, and all I do is I just guess. Some people measure, I just guesstimate and do, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch from the edge and miter it. Sometimes I screw up and doing too much, and sometimes I don't do enough. That's why you should measure, but you know, I'm lazy with that part. So, okay, now I'm going to remove this tape backing, and you know what, I'm going to wait on the other one, because what I'm going to do, the step that I forgot, is I'm going to kind of burnish this a little bit, my flap, to get my paper used to folding and creasing so it doesn't tear. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to go ahead and kind of lift this up a bit and take this off. I'm going to stick it down. And I've gotten to where I just kind of do it with my hands now. And then I'll go back and burnish it. Where is my real bone folder? I finally bought a real bone folder. But I seem to have misplaced it, so it's not in my little crafty bag. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do this side. I was so excited to finally get an official bone folder. I ordered them from bonefolder.com. And I'm not even using them. Taking this off and that off. And I got too much trash in my trash can. Needs to be taken out. I'm going to go ahead and take that off too. And this one. So that way I don't have to mess with them. And just going to make sure I get it down without getting any wrinkles in it. There we go. Now I'm going to do this side. And we're almost done. Looks like I mitered it just enough because I don't really have much to tuck in, so that's good. Looks like it's perfect for a change, at least on this side. Spoke too soon about the other side, right? Okay. Whoops. Well, that doesn't really matter. Okay. Yeah, this side I'm going to have to tuck it just a little bit more. I'm going to burnish. And remove this. Stick it down. Okay, yay, book part's done. I always hate doing that part on camera for some reason. It just seems like it takes forever. Okay, I'm just going to lift this up a little bit and burnish in here my little creases. Not too hard, you don't want to tear your paper. And I'm just going to fold it in. Cute. This is the cutest size. Okay, now we're going to add our binding. And I'm not super great at getting this straight. I think even on my album I got it crooked. So, what do I want to do? There's an inch right there. Sometimes I mark it off. Like I'll measure here and I'll say, using my little Timmy ruler, where the middle is. So half. So I'm going to mark here. There's a ½ inch and then an inch. And that's where I'll line up my binding to. We'll see. Let's see if I can get this straight. See, that doesn't even look even on this side. So what I do? What did I do? Let's get it in the middle. That's probably what I didn't do. Yep. I didn't. That's better. Okay. Okay, I'm just removing the tape backing again, my million pieces of tape off of here. And because I had some areas that didn't get full tape coverage, I'm just going to do a little tiny squirt of glue. Just right down here. Just a little bit. May not even be necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. So what I do is I take these marks where I marked the middle here, and I'm going to line up the binding, you know, the hinges with that. Now, if you are good at this and getting it even, you don't have to. So what I did was I put my Tim Holtz ruler where it was in the middle. I know there's a ½ inch hinge and a ½ inch hinge here, so this is a total 1 inch. So I measured, you know, from the 0, I measured a half on this side and a half on this side and marked it, and then I know that these flaps need to measure up with this these pencil marks, okay? And that helps me to get my binding straight. Now you may have a good eye and not have to do something like that, but I didn't do it on my last on the original for this album, and it ended up being a little crooked, so I was sad about that because I was stubborn and just didn't take the time to do it, is all it was. So I'm just burnishing. Now I'm going to kind of fold this up and burnish right here in the center where the fold is. And I'm going to flip this over and kind of move my hinges out of the way and do that on the other side as well. Okay, now we're done with that part. Now we can go ahead and add our pages. So do I want to do that? Let's go ahead and do, before we add our pages, let's go ahead and add this corner pocket on the front because it's kind of tricky. Now this is going to be the same measurement as you did the other pocket for the pages. It's 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and you score on all 4 sides at a 1/2 inch, and then you cut down the middle diagonally. So it's just like we made the other pocket. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take and just put glue on one side first, and I'll show you why. And I'm going to stick this down right here on the left hand side. So we're going to have corner pockets on this front cover here. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same to the other side. I'm just going to put glue right here. And I'm going to stick it down, you know, just a little bit away from the fold here. Okay. Lining it up at the bottom with your other pocket. Now, so now you're going to have 2 that go like this. Now when we glue these together, we want to kind of fit them inside of each other, but it's going to be kind of tricky because it's so large. So we might have to, you're going to have to put them down and like tuck them together, and it might be a bit messy. So I'm just going to warn you ahead of time, because that's what I do. I tuck them together and they go down that way. So I wonder even, maybe you could tuck, it'd be easier if I just leave them like that and glue them down with them already tucked in and stick glue underneath here. Let's try it. So what I did the first time, if you want to try it, I put glue here and then glue here, and then I fit them together like this and then glued them down, and of course got glue all over me in the process. You could also use score tape, of course, which would be less messy. But in this instance, what I'm going to do is I've already got my pockets tucked in, so I'm just going to lift this up and put glue right here, okay? All the way across. And I'm going to see how this works, because the other way was a pain, so if I can tell you an easier way to do it, be much better. See how this works out for us. Hopefully I don't have any glue seeping out anywhere. I think that works, guys. So let's see. Now we have our pocket this way, and then our pocket this way. Yeah, I think that works. So try it that way. Tuck it all in first and then put your glue underneath and glue it down. That'll make it much easier for you. Okay? So now let's go to the back cover, and I'm going to put a pocket on the back cover. This is the pocket, and it measures 4¼ inch by 8 inches. You're going to score on the 8-inch side at 1/2 inch at each end, and then 1/2 inch on the 4¼ inch side. You're going to miter on your score lines and fold and burnish, or miter your corners rather is what I was trying to say. And let me kind of fold this in. Your pocket's going to go, it's a side pocket that goes here, so I'm just going to kind of turn my book this way. This is the opening, and I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to stick it down. Right there at the edge. And I'm just burnishing it to make sure it gets a good stick all the way around. Okay, now that's done. Now the last thing we need to do is the inside back cover. That's going to be a waterfall. So what I want you to do is cut your paper. What I do is I cut a piece of paper and I put my waterfall pieces on here, and then I stick this to the book. Now if you feel comfortable sticking your waterfall pieces directly to the book, that's fine. I just like to use this as a guide to make sure I get everything straight. So this is 4½ by 6¾ You don't have to do any scoring. And then you're going to want to make, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces at 4¾ by 4½. Score on the 4¾ inch side at 1/2 inch for each one. And then we're just going to put it together. So fold on your score line and burnish. We're going to put our glue at the top. And then we're just going to stick it up, line it up at the very top, and stick it down. Okay? Then I'm going to open this one up, and I'm just going to stick the next one down. So I'm going to burnish, put my glue, and I'm going to stick this down right below where this one ends. Okay? Lining it up with that edge, making sure it gets straight. So this piece of paper helps me make sure that it gets straight all the way around. Okay? I'm going to lift it up and burnish some more, and then on to the next piece, all right? And just continue gluing and sticking down. Two more to go. Now I'm not going to add this to the back cover on camera because I like to put pattern paper on the back cover and then stick this down because it does peek out just a little bit. And I'll show you that on the other album in just a second. And here's the last one. Okay. So fold all these down. And I used a ribbon closure. So what I did was before I put my pattern paper on, I put a strip of score tape right here and also right here, or even on the back. You could do it on the back of here, and attached my ribbons to tie it within the middle. So here's what I'm talking about. Can you see? You can barely see it. So I just put this pattern paper down on the back before I stuck this down. So there's my little ribbon. So there's score tape underneath there holding it down. And then it looks like on this one I put the score tape on the back, so it would be on this side and then stuck the ribbon down, and that's what's holding it together. Okay, so I'm not going to attach this yet, but it goes right here on the back, centered with the flap. So the last thing that we need to do is add our pages. So I'm going to turn my book sideways because it's easier for me to add them that way. I'm going to close my glue because I am done with it. And I'm going to take my first page, which is the gatefold style page, and that should be on the front with the flap on the back like this. And so it opens this way, which you can see is a little tricky to get both sides in there and even before sticking it down. So what I'm going to do is I prefer to stick the back of it down first. So I'm going to remove that score tape from that first hinge, the back of the first hinge. Let me turn it. I don't know what best way to turn it so I can see and so can y'all. And I'm just going to stick it down to this and get it even, okay? So I'm lining it up here, and it probably would have been better to take it off the front first, so my bad. Getting it straight but keeping it away from the fold. So that means I'm going to have to turn it around this way. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this on here, making sure I keep the page away from the fold there at the bottom, and I'm going to stick it down here and burnish. Okay. So then I'm going to go back to the front, line up my page, remove the tape, and then it should be pretty easy for me to just stick it down right there. Okay, and I'm going to kind of burnish it along. And there's my first page, and I just found it a lot easier to do it that way. Now normally I just remember that I start from the back normally, but that's okay, doesn't matter. So now you want to take one page that has the flap that opens and then up, and then it has a corner pocket on the back, okay? And that's what's going to go next. So, because you want the corner pockets to face each other. So I'm going to take it off the front first and see how that works out. Since I'm facing the camera this way. And I'm going to stick it in here on my flap. And get it just away from the fold. And stick it down. That was really easy. Okay, so now I'm going to fold it over. And I'm just going to lift this up. Take that off. So you notice here that I have my hinge here. I'm sticking my hinge down here. So that gives me that top loading pocket. And there we go. Super easy. So much easier that way than with the way I tried to do it the first time. I tried to take both pieces of tape off and they were getting stuck to each other and it was a mess. So, okay, so now this page should have the corner pocket on the front and then the flip up on the back, okay? So now I'm going to stick that one on this side, get it nice and even, and it's about 1/8 of an inch away from the fold, maybe even a little less than that. I'm going to burnish. So now here are my 2 corner pockets, okay? It's kind of like a centerfold, and then turn it over, and I'm going to remove this piece. I'm just going to make sure it sticks down nice and even. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, now our book is done. That is it. So you have, it's 5x7, it opens up, you have the corner pockets, the gatefold style page with the 2 top and bottom flips. You're going to want to put your seam binding here to close this. Turn it over. You have a flip here. I don't think I put a magnet here, but you can if you like to hold that down. And then this page opens this way. I did put a magnet here and here. And then flip it up and you have your top and then your acetate pocket. Flip it over and you have like a centerfold, 2 corner pockets. Flip it over and again you have your flip with your magnetic closure, and then it will flip up and you have your acetate pocket, and then of course your waterfall would be on the side and your side pocket on the back. So there you go. Here is the original album. And I just want to flip through this real quick to make sure there's nothing else I need to tell you guys. What I did here is I attached, which you can see it's kind of coming up right there. I need to be careful of that. I tied it too tight. I actually attached it to the pattern paper. It may be better if you attach it to the actual flap, the seam binding, because mine's pulling right there a little bit, okay? So I think that's all. This is just a 3x4 cut apart, and I put tape on each side to make it into a pocket. My washi tape, I cut it actually. It was 1/2 inch washi tape. I put it in my trimmer and cut it down to 3/8 of an inch to go around this whole area there. Okay, there's that. Oh, let me tell you what my pullouts are here. This one is 4 1/4 by 6 3/4. So all the top ones, that's what the mats are. These are of course 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. What else? There was another larger mat that I had, I think in here, and it's actually the same as this one. So let me stick this one. This one is 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So that's what these mats are. I think one of these fits in here. And then the other mats, I just went according to whatever my scraps I had left, you know. So like inside here, I have this one is 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. And this one is 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. So it's whatever scrap white paper I had left. And then I just cut my pattern paper to fit over the top is how I did that. What else can I tell you guys? That's the same 4 1/4 by 5 1/4 photo mat. And you already have the measurements for all that. This photo mat is 4 1/4 by 6 3/4. And I think that's all I can tell you guys for this project. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that even if you don't have this paper collection, of course, that you make this project. It's really cute. It's small, it comes together quickly, and it's really easy to make. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.